So it feels like it's been forever, but I finally managed to get hold of the new Marvel Legends Doc Ock that's technically from Spider-Man No Way Home, but says Spider-Man 2 on the box due to some like legal problems or something. I don't know. But this is effectively the Doc Ock from Spider-Man No Way Home. And I'm so stoked about this. I cannot wait to get this figure in hand. I've got a good feeling about it. Let's get into it now. Hi everyone, yeah, it's Chris here. So we're going to take a look at this sort of deluxe villain technically from the Marvel Legends Spider-Man No Way Home range, although due to some licensing and legal disputes, the box itself actually lists this as the Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock. Maybe somebody in the comments can tell a little bit more about why it is that they've gone that route. The original range of No Way Home figures came out sort of middle of last year, and we've recently gotten these sort of 2 deluxe boxes for villains. So the Green Goblin, which I reviewed about a month ago, and now we've got Doc Ock as well, which was released a little bit later. And I just can't wait. I can't wait to look at this figure. I think I'm going to love it, but we'll wait and see. So let's first take a look at the box. And I mean, it's got a nice photorealistic 3D rendering on the front. And again, that looks like a 3D rendering behind as well. You'll actually see on this box as I turn it around that there aren't actually any photos from the movie on it at all. They all seem to be sort of artists' renditions or 3D renderings of the figure on there. But you can see Doc Ock here on the front there. And then side, we've just got another image there. On the back, we've got another of the same sort of image, but we've also got a list of the accessories there as well. And we've got a Spider-Man logo on the top, same as on the Green Goblin, and then a bunch of legal gibberish on the bottom there. So let's get this guy open and let's get the box out and take a look at the figure. Yeah, so at first glance, this figure already looks pretty special. You can see the tentacles are just kind of folded behind him when he first comes out of the box. But that just gives us an opportunity to look at the figure on its own first. And wow, look at that. I'm so impressed with the level of detail on this already. Probably not to the same standard as the Green Goblin, but that had so much more intricate detail on there. But look at that. The turtleneck looks fantastic. I mean, that head sculpt looks great. I really love the glasses on it as well. There's a slight tint to them, but you can see his eyes through it. They are non-removable. Look at that jacket. 2 layers of that jacket open, and the detailing on the turtleneck as well. That looks really impressive. That sort of leads down into modestly interesting trousers, I suppose. Nothing great about them. Nice brown boots there as well. But that green trench coat, the level of detail on that is fantastic as well. And I love those buttons on there as well. They look like they're a slightly different colour to the jacket, so possibly a painted piece as well. And then you got the 4 tentacles on the back, and they're really, really stiff. I definitely encourage you to warm them up before use. But you can see the coiling, sort of the metal coil, you know, the hinging on it looks really impressive. It's kind of very a gunmetal grey. I would maybe have expected it to be a little bit shinier, but it looks like metal. You know, it's quite impressive in that way. And because it bends as opposed to hinges, it looks quite fluid as well, so you can put it into some good poses. Good T-pose on there. The arm goes up quite high. There's a swivel at the top of the arm as well. Disappointing single joint in the elbow, although it does move quite a lot. And then we do have a twist and a hinge in the wrists as well, so that's not too bad. Quite impressed with that. Sits nicely by his side as well. Good head movement, full sort of Exorcist head movement on here as well, and a reasonably good up and down on that head as well, so very good articulation so far on that. The glasses on mine sit a little bit funny though, that's a bit annoying. Legs, I mean, he does have good movement if you can get him out of the trench coat. The coat does sort of limit the sideways movement on the legs a little bit there. Spin at the top of the thigh. There is a double joint in the knee. A little bit tough. I should have warmed that up before I started, but there is a double joint there in the knee, as you can see. Let's get that there. And there is a backwards movement in the ankle as well as a little bit of pivot in there. Doesn't look fantastic when you bend it back though, does it? It looks very weird. But yeah, that's not too bad. I don't mind that. There's a little bit of extra articulation there. And I didn't show it, but there is a swivel in the waist as well. So there's a single ball joint in the waist. So it does move sideways very nicely. Now, moving on to the accessories, he comes with one alternate set of hands, and these are sort of open or relaxed hands. I love the level of detail on the gloves here. You can see quite a few creases and stitching on there as well. And then we get to the grips, I suppose, for the two bottom tentacles. This is the flat pose. This will support his weight if you want the tentacles to hold him up in the air. And then again on the bottom, you have two angled hands on there as well. Love the level of detail on it. Really like the red in the middle. And again, maybe I'd have liked it a little bit shinier with a little bit of a gold accent that we see in the film. But the gunmetal grey is quite serviceable. Works well on there. And then we do have the two articulated ends for the top tentacles. And you can see the articulation on the side there, which means you can have them open or in that point, that sort of snake-like head that always appears like as though it's talking to Otto in the movie. And you will see here, if I can get the focus right, that they just push straight onto the end of the tentacles like that. So nice and easy. No real issues with that at all. But yeah, I am very, very impressed with this so far. I think that the level of detail on it is incredibly impressive, and follow suit from the Green Goblin that we've seen released a few months ago. I don't think they're perfect figures, but as Marvel Legends recently go, I think they're really impressive. And as you can see him standing here, I'm showing you the pose that you can get him in for when he's being held up by the bottom two tentacles. Really impressive. I don't know, you really have to work to get it right, so that it holds the balance. There is sort of a fine line between it being stable and it falling all over the place. But I did just want to point out as well, you might not be able to see it great here, but I can try and zoom in, that the paint on the zipper on his inner jacket looks fantastic. But yeah, I think he cuts an amazing silhouette when he's up like that. It really sings. I'm so pleased with it. And I think that's probably how I'm going to want to position him on my shelf as well. So cool. Yeah, I really, really, really like that. And I'm just moving it to the back there as well. But I just love how it's burst through the back of his trench coat there. And it obviously hides a lot of sins, but from a figure perspective, it's really impressive. And you can see the little cuts and tears on the jacket where the arms, the tentacles have burst through. So yeah, love that. And it does look really good. Oh, you see here, this is one of my gripes, is that they are very, very easy to break. And when I say break, they do push back together. They're just on little clip hinges, but they're so fiddly, these little clip hinges. They will pop off all the time. So if it happens to yours, don't worry. They will clip back on, but it is very annoying. Let's get him into some other poses and take a look, okay? So I would say that this is an excellent figure. I don't think that Hasbro have let us down with this Doc Ock. I think if I want to talk about negatives for a second, I mean, there aren't many. I do think that it was right to make his glasses non-removable, but what it has done, I think with mine especially, and you'll possibly find it with your own as well, is that if they're not put on perfect, they look weird. And there's something about the way that mine don't sit right on his nose, where it looks like, it's a lot higher on one side and lower on the other, that you can't really adjust that. So I don't love that. I think he could have come with a few more accessories, for the higher price point that we're paying for this figure. I'm not saying loads, but we've got the 4 heads to the tentacles, which you would expect to be there anyway, plus 2 additional heads, and 1 additional set of hands for the figure. And is that enough? I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record moaning about accessories with Hasbro, so perhaps I should reassess this one. But I would have loved something, maybe the arc reactor that he holds in his hand, from the end of the movie, or even if they're classing this as the Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock, which we all know it isn't, maybe some bags of money. That would have looked really good as well. But yeah, no, I mean, minor gripe, really. If we want to talk a little bit about the head sculpt, this is another home run from Hasbro with regards to the head sculpts. They just keep getting better and better at them for this little 6-inch range. That is Alfred Molina there. You couldn't mistake that for anyone else. I think it's I think the likeness is captured incredibly well from the actor. And if you remember the old Toy Biz one, it's a lot closer, I think, to the actor than that older figure had. Incredible posability as well. Playability on this figure is limitless. There's so much that you can do posing him and playing with him. And I will say that the tentacles they do get easier the sort of more that you manipulate them. Now, I don't know if over time that's going to get to a point where they don't hold his weight because you've moved them so much, but they do feel really stiff, so I can't imagine that. But they do get easier and easier to position the more that you sort of manipulate them. Again, as we spoke about before, I think the clothing on it is pretty spot on as well. I really, really love this turtleneck and the fabric detail that they've put on it. You know, the likeness to the fabric. It's clearly not a fabric material, but even from a distance when we're recording this on the camera, you can see the mottling on that turtleneck, and it's just really smart. Very impressed with it. So yeah, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun posing this guy with Spider-Man and with some of the other villains, and it's going to look really good on my Spider-Man No Way Home shelf. So I am very, very impressed with this figure. In summary, I think it's a great figure. I don't think that it's as good as the Green Goblin. I still prefer the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin figure, but I still love this. I still think it's got so much personality because of how much that you can pose it. The level of articulation is sort of far above what you expect from a normal 6-inch figure, because you take away the body of the figure itself and you've still got this huge amount of manipulation and posability from the tentacles as well. I measured the tentacles at about between 8.5 and 9 inches, so they are huge as well, and they will give you so much play. So I'm very, very impressed with this figure. Urge you to go out and get it if you haven't done already. I know that it's been quite difficult to get some of these Spider-Man No Way Home figures in the shops, but I have started to see that this Doc Ock is starting to come back into stock and not being sold out immediately. So if you can get hold of it, try your best. It's worth it. But yeah, I mean, that's it really for this figure review. Let me know what you think of the figure in the comments. Is he as good as you hoped he'd be? Is this one that you've been trying to get? Have you got him already? Let me know what you think. I'd be really interested to hear someone else's opinion on it. And please like the video if you've enjoyed it at all. It really does help me out. And likewise, please subscribe if you haven't already. This community would love to have you, so please come and join us here. And you can stay up to date with all my latest reviews and news. But that's it, really. I finally have this Doc Ock in the palm of my hand. And I hope you get it soon too. If you're interested in other Marvel Legends figures, such as that Green Goblin, why don't you check out the Green Goblin review now? Thanks ever so much for joining me today. I hope you all take care. Bye-bye now.